Okay, good morning class. So today we're looking at equations and inequalities. We are on exercise 4.4. We are doing literal equations, so changing the subject of the formula. Okay, is that correct? So this is for exercise 4.4 and page 78. Okay. So for literal equations we are told we use letters as coefficients and variables in the literal equation. The formula can be regarded as literal equations. For example, a is equal to pi r squared. Where do we use this formula? A is equal to pi r squared. Area of a circle. Right. Is the formula for the area of a circle with radius r. We call A the subject of the formula. So if you have A is equal to something, then A is called the subject of the formula. And remember this, we used this formula last year. Or in the standard form. Y is equal to mx plus c. When did we use that formula? Graphs, a straight line. What is the subject of the formula there? Y. Okay. Why? Because y is written there and then it's equal to whatever. Okay. We call y the subject of the formula. Okay. Step 1, you need to write this down. Steps to change the subject of the formula. Step 1, get all the terms with the variables you're solving for, or the new subject, to one side of the equation, and number 2, solve the equation for that variable. Okay, so write that down quickly and pause the video at this point. Okay. So now we're looking at example 1, and example 1 is on page 77. Example 1, page 77. Alright. So we are told make x the subject of the formula. In the formula qx equals mx plus p. Right, where do we start? What was the step number 1? So in other words, you must get all the x's on one side of the equal sign. Alright, so let's do that quickly. We're going to take this mx to the left hand side. So what do we have now? Qx minus mx equals p. What's your next step? This is factorize, which is correct. Common fraction. Okay, what was the second step? Common factor, sorry. What's step 2? Solve the equation. So we have that step now. So we're going to take out x as a common factor. We're going to try and get the x's out. Okay? So if I take out x as a common factor, what are we left with? Q minus m is equal to p. So what do I do now? How do we get x on its own? Divided by q minus y. Then that's how we'll get x on its own. Can you see that? So that cancels. So x is equal to p over easy. Let's do it again. Huh? Yes. Okay. I think it's the red color. I'll change the color. Okay. So the first step is to get the x's on one side. Not so. So I can take that to the left. If I have taken qx over, then I'm supposed to bring the p as well. Okay, which is going to be 2 terms that's going to be shifting. You wouldn't make it wrong, but it would just be extra. So we take it over. So it's going to be qx minus mx is equal to p. So what do we do now? We take out the common factor. And what's common? X. I'm left with q minus m is equal to. How do I get x on its own? Q minus m both sides. So that cancels. Now I've got x on its own. Therefore x is equal to p over. Okay. Any confusion? No? This is the second example on page 77. Right. Make R the subject of the formula. There's two R's. So what R do you think they're referring to? Small r, lowercase r. Okay. So what's the first step? What's the first step? No, we run two steps now. What's the first step? All that one at once. So how do I get, what do I have to do in pursuit of getting that r to the one side? Multiply it. Get rid of the brackets. I heard somebody say the difference of two squares. And then what you're going to do after you've taken the difference of two squares? Multiply out and we're going to get this again. So that's going to be futile, no? That don't help us in solving or making R the subject of the formula. So the goal was to multiply that out, get rid of the brackets. So A is equal to pi r squared minus pi r squared. Not so? Right, because distributive law there. Not so? So it's pi times r, capital R squared. So pi r squared and pi times lowercase r squared. So you get the pi r squared. Okay. Now what do we do? Take r to the term of the r to the left hand side. And I'm going to take the a over. Not so? Okay, I'm going to show you another way I could have done it if I had taken this one up to that side. I'll show you that one afterwards, okay? So what will happen now? It's going to become positive pi r squared is equal to pi r squared minus a. Now what do we do? Divide by pi both sides. So that cancels. So r squared is equal to pi. Does this pi and that pi cancel?
Yes.
No. Why not? There's a negative sign there. Yes. That's why it can't cancel. Okay. So I'm left with pi r squared minus a over. Now what? Rooted is. Okay, normally I would go with plus and minus, but because r represents a length, you can't have a negative length. Okay, but that we're still going to come when we're talking about what that is. But for now, r will be positive. So r is equal to the square root of.
So you would find if you do it like this.
Sorry? It's fine for what? Don't put a plus minus. What are you asking? Ask. Well, what was the question that you got? Events? Numbers 3,14. Is that what you're asking?
So if there was no variables like a, could you punch it in the calculator and get the right?
You would have been able to get an answer.
Is it fine if we leave it like this?
It must be left like this. But so remember, there's no variable, there's no values for a r. There's a variable, it can be any value at this point.
If it was numbers, like actual.
If it was actual numbers, then you would have, yes, put it in the calculator. People, any questions here? Any confusion? Yes, Michael?
Why isn't pi r squared equal to 10?
Sorry?
Why couldn't you
Apply the square root on the r squared.
yes.
Good question. Who can answer that for? If I got the square root of 25 minus the 16, what's the square root of 25? 5 minus 4. Is that correct? No, why not? Minus between it. Because there's a minus between it, I can't do this. Can you see that? Why? Okay. If you look at it this way, what's the square root of, what's 25 minus 16? 9. What's the square root of 9? 3. What's 5 minus 4? 1. So which one of the two is correct? Of course not this one. Okay. So the rule is, if there's a plus or minus between it, it has to be one term that you must apply the square root on. So if you look here, is this one term here in the numerator? No. So you can't apply to parts of it and not parts of that. However, if this was the square root of pi r squared t, for argument's sake, that is going to be r square root pi t. Can you see that? Why? Because there's a multiplication between it. But because there's a minus there, you can't apply the square root. Make sense? Any other questions?
What's the other way?
Yes, I'm getting there now. That's why I'm clearing here. Okay, so the other way, if I had gotten a is equal to pi r squared minus pi r squared, and I took that to that side now, then what do we have? Negative pi r squared is equal to a minus pi r squared. You all agree with that? Okay, wait. So I'm sure you're probably confused here. You have taken that, so it's going to be a minus pi r squared is equal to negative pi r squared. You all agree with that? Now if I switch that to that side and that over, it's exactly the same. Because negative pi r squared is equal to a minus pi r squared. Or a minus pi r squared is equal to negative pi r squared. Either way you go, it's the same thing. So if you swap everything on the left hand side of the equal sign to the right hand side and vice versa, it's the same thing. For argument's sake, we've got x is equal to 2, it's the same as 2 is equal to x. Can you see? If I take this over, it becomes minus 2 minus x, and I divide both sides by negative 1, then it's x is equal to 2. Or 2 is equal to. Can you see that? So as long as you swap everything on the left to the right and everything on the right to the left, it doesn't change anything. Are you all okay with it? But don't just swap anytime. If you're a bit confused and don't know when to apply it, then rather not. Okay. So looking at this here, so how do I get r squared on its own? Divided by negative pi. So that cancels. So r squared is equal to a minus pi r squared over negative pi. What do I do now? Square root both sides. As I said, it's going to be plus and minus, but the CS is only going to be plus. Is the square root of a minus pi r squared over negative pi. You see, it's the same. It's exactly the same. It's equivalent answers. So if you had followed this route in the exam, route 1, you get the full mark, or route 2 is the full mark. Okay, but you're going to say here's a negative here, no? But what happens if I swap this negative around and this 2 terms around? Negative is going to come out. That negative that's going to come out here, you're going to make that negative a positive, which is exactly what we have the pi squared minus a over pi. As you can see, it's exactly the same. But your full marks would be awarded there at this point already. Okay. Any confusion at this point? No? You guys have a lot of questions in this lesson. Yes? It should be. Check. It's not. What's the answer they have?
R is equal to square r squared minus a over pi.
Oh, so basically what they did was they put each one of its own. So that pi will cancel that pi, which is r squared minus a over pi. You see what they did was they first said pi r squared minus a both over its own pi. And then they simplified. Okay. So that is exactly the same. Why I stopped here is because you'll get full marks at that point already. However, if you're going to make a mistake from there to there, you're going to lose 1 mark. No? Okay, anything else? Right. The next one is example 3, and example 3 is on page. Sorry? 77. Alright, so where do we start? Where do we start here? You see, fractions is always going to come back. All the time. Okay. So what do we do first? LCM. And what's my LCM here? AB. So what must this be multiplied by? B. This here? A. That's over 1. So this here? AB. In other words, you've got XB plus AX or XA equals AB. What must you make the subject of the formula? X. Okay. So what do I do now? Is the X on one side the equal sign? Yes, my girl? I thought you were going to ask something about the maths. Sorry? You can come? X is a common factor. Not so. What am I left with? B plus A equals AB. Now what do we do? Divide by A plus B or B plus A both sides. Not so. That cancels. So therefore, X is equal to AB over B plus A or A plus A. Simple, huh? Can't believe it's so easy. Okay, is there any questions? What are you talking about, X squared? Huh? Same. Easy, yes. Everything in maths is easy. Right, so what I want you guys to do now is exercise 4.4. You're going to do the odd numbers. I'm going to check you guys row by row now again, okay? I think I'm going to start on this side today.